Hello, everyone. It's good to see you all here. Not quite sure. Chris said he got a 502 on the Expert Media site. Not quite sure why. You can always go to my YouTube channel. The link is always there posted. I might have typed something in wrong. It's always possible. You never know. But anyway, we're going to have a fun time tonight. I went all out. Bunch of slides and everything. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going to talk much right now because we have a lot to cover. So we're going to be talking about AI art, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So let me go full screen here. And thanks, Liz. She said, awesome art renderings, Tony, with that most recent PDF. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to put together. I get these ideas in like the middle of the night, and then I obsess over them until they're done. And that's what happened with that PDF. Wasn't planning on creating it. It just happened. But yeah, thought of it about 3:30 in the morning. Couldn't get it out of my head. So there you go. You're welcome. All right. So let me give a formal introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Expert Media Webinars. This is your host and teacher, Tony Leidig, and welcome to this session. I think this is number 6 for the year so far. I decided to mark it as seasons. So this would be season 2, since technically it'd be like season 4. If we go back way to the beginning when we started Expert Media Show, I think it was, what, 2012 or something like that. But anyway, tonight we're going to talk about imagery-guided AI art creation. And some of you may have experimented with some of what I'm going to be sharing tonight, but I'm fairly certain that you haven't taken it to the level that I've taken it. And I'm just giving you a glimpse of some of the things that I've been playing around with. So anyway, text art based programs, which are typically referred to as VQGAN+CLIP, have the ability to create truly stunning imagery based on the prompts you input into them. So if you've used any of the AI programs that I've been talking about over the last year plus, like Night Cafe or Accomplice or any of the other myriad, Neurogen, which is one of the newer ones, they all basically work the same way. The outputs can vary quite a bit depending on the models that they're using to generate the images, but the process is the same. You input a text prompt, and you use guide words or keywords, like artist names, which I focused on a lot, but also different types of art styles or whatever. If you've been playing with any of those for a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you can get some really great results. I'm still continually blown away by what the AI can create. The results are a bit unpredictable, and you've probably found that as well, is that every time the AI generates art, even with the exact same keyword phrase, it's going to resemble others that you've used the same prompt for, but it's still going to vary. Results may vary. And that's just the nature of the beast. But there is one method that you can use to help you guide the output results, and that is using input images to guide the AI. And to be honest, a large majority of the images that I create these days is using this method in one form or another. And so, hold on, my computer's having issues. I discovered that the problem is actually not with StreamYard, which is what I initially thought. It's actually an issue with PowerPoint. I'm not sure. Now, most text art programs support this, and that is using a source image. Not all of them do, but the ones that matter do. And so then the question is, what type of image should you use? And that really comes down to a few factors, but ultimately, there's still a number of variables that just choosing one image can impact, right? And so, ultimately, let's say that you're interested in creating a certain something. Like the case study that we're going to use tonight is a barn owl. Okay. I like barn owls. They kind of remind me of aliens in a manner of speaking, if you think about it, especially compared to the other owls. They're really weird looking, but I love them. Just saw one the other day, actually. And so when it comes to barn owls, they can obviously take on a lot of different forms. And I think most of us here all know what a barn owl looks like. And so if I go to Accomplice, which of course is one of my favorite um, uh, VQGAN+CLIP generators, and they just released 2.0 within the last week or two. The Accomplice supports several models. The one that they launched with, and probably the most popular one, is called Imagenet. And so I decided to type in Barn Owl by James Gurney. James Gurney is one of the artists that I really like. He's the guy who he creates a lot of hyper detailed art, and I don't know, I just love this stuff. But anyway, so I typed in Barn Owl by James Gurney to try to steer it a little bit into his style, just straight up. And here's what I got. Not very sexy or usable. And I just ran it once. And by the way, for most of these renders, I use the fast model. We're going to go to Accomplice here a little later, but there's two ways you can render: fast and normal. Fast is obviously faster, hence the name. It only does 60 iterations compared to 200, but you can see some resemblance, sort of, kind of, with Barn Owl, but not that much, you know? And so, what if I wanted to look more like an actual barn owl? Well, that's where these influence images can come into play. So, what I decided to do was create an example. I found a barn owl photo on Pixabay and use that to guide the AI. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that later on when we get into that part. So this is the picture that I found. Cool looking image. And, you know, I like it a lot just as is, but we want to use this to guide our AI. Now, here's the big question. Should we just use the image as is straight out of the box? Or if we make modifications to this image, would we achieve similar results or not? Like, what would happen? Because there's a lot of different ways that you can spin an image, right? I mean, obviously, we have the out of the box image in color, but what if we decided to use a black and white version instead of color? What if we did a negative inverse of the black and white? What if we did an outline where the owl was white and the background was black? What if we reverse that, where the owl is black and the background is white? Or what if the owl is gray? Or what if the owl is blurry? Or what if the black and white image is blurry, out of focus? Or what if we take the color and inverse that? Or maybe we can take the regular version of the color owl and just make the background black. Or maybe we could run it through a vector program and turn it into vector art, or an outline, or a painted version, or a multicolor outline version, right? So with all these different variations of an owl, what would happen, right? And that's the question that we're going to answer tonight. So each variation that we have will impact the output result. In some cases, in a very cool way, and in other cases, not so much. Okay, so let's get into the results here a little bit. So in loading the original image here into Accomplice using the Imagenet model and the key phrase or prompt phrase Barn Owl by James Gurney, this is the result. Now, this is all using a fast render. So, 60 iterations. You get a fairly decent idea of where it's going to go. And it's not horrible, but it sure as hell is better than what we got without a guide image, right? So the next one with the image is black and white. Now you might notice if one of the things to pay attention here is the tonal quality, okay? Like obviously the owl looks more realistic, but why is that? And one of the reasons why I believe that this works out the way it does, and I've tested this, 50 ways from Sunday, is that first of all, the AI doesn't necessarily interpret color versus black and white. It sees it all as black and white. That's my understanding or the conclusion that I've come to. But what it is paying attention to is the 256 shades of gray, but also contrast. And I think you'll see future images kind of point to that fact. This is pretty damn good, I think. But it's using the guide image. Now, the next one, which is the negative, right? It's like the AI don't know what to do. It's like, I got nothing. But you'll notice that the background is very light, just like the surrounding background behind the reversed owl. And so then I did a silhouette of just the owl. So very stark, white and black. And it got the barn part pretty good. But here where the owl goes, I don't know what the hell that is, kind of looks more like a rabbit than an owl, but okay. The reverse, same thing, again, it don't really know what to do with it, even though it has a basic shape and it fills in that shape. It's not acceptable at all. The gray version I thought was very interesting, and it actually signals something here that I want to draw your attention to. So obviously it didn't do a good job of producing the owl, right? But look how the AI responded to the tonal range, the black versus the gray, right? If we go back to the white and the black, the background is very light. Here, if we go to black again with the white owl outline, you can see that the inside area is much lighter. The background is still dark, right? So if we go forward, same kind of background. And because this is gray instead of white, we have more detail. So what that tells me is that we can actually control AI output based upon tonal range. So whenever we're using source images, areas that we want to come out darker should be nearly black. And the areas that we want to come out lighter, probably not pure white, but maybe 10 or 20%, right, of a gray. And the reason why I'm kind of pointing that out is because it can help you shape the output, I guess is a good way of putting it. Okay, so let's keep going. So what happens if we use a blurry image? You'll see that the blurriness actually didn't affect the output. It didn't make it better, but it also, you'll notice that it's still sharp. If anything, it looks like it could have added a little bit of a shadow effect. Okay. And if we take it one step further and apply a blurry black and white image, you'll see now where it still pulls in the detail of the owl's face, more or less. And then the background is reactive to the to all of the grays because there's not a lot of contrast. I just used a Gaussian blur in Photoshop, and so there's not a lot that the AI can latch onto other than, you know, these blobby pixels. Don't quite know what to do with them, but yet you'll notice that the lines are still very sharp. Okay, so we could actually use that in our favor in some respects and in some cases. This is the negative version of the color image, and it's like the AI is like, I don't know what the hell you're going for, so this is what I got. Kind of looks like a pissed off bird. And then the next image is black background with the full color image. And you'll notice that it's not pure black in the AI render, and it's pretty decent looking overall. I mean, it's not perfect, obviously, but better than many of the other examples that we saw. So then what if we switched over to using vector images? And so to create these vectors, I just took our source image and imported it into SDFX and used their first four vector conversion options. Okay, so this is the first version that they produced, or that it produced, and kind of looks like a mouse praying, sort of, kind of. I found that the background detail was very interesting. Okay, next one was the outline. Now, we can learn some things here. It's not very sexy looking from an image perspective, but there's some things that I want to point out here. First of all, notice where, I mean, this is a threshold image, so everything is either black or white. And so the black areas, it's put in these corn stalk looking things. And you can see it's very consistent, but it's dark. Where the white areas are, everything is very light. Okay, but you look at the features of the owl, it picked up on some of them, but it wasn't really sure what to do with it all. So, like, if we had grays inside the owl here, it probably would have done a better job. But the fact that it got the eyes in the right place says something. Okay. And then the next one is like a vector painted version of the owl. And again, very similar result. You can definitely tell it was responding to the background image, but what's really interesting here is that it also picked up on the colors a little bit. You can see here in the greens and stuff, which translated over. That kind of surprised me a little bit that it did that. And then last but not least was this version. And I honestly didn't know what to expect. But in a lot of ways, it's actually more accurate than many of the others that we looked at. But again, look at the color influence. We have black, yellow, and white. So the black, it's giving this wood kind of tone to it. The white, not surprising. The yellows are going with grays and browns. And it's actually filling in fur and stuff. Like, where the hell is that coming from? That's part of the keyword phrase, barn owl. Okay. And so now, one thing just to point out here is that I use the exact same model, the exact same keyword phrase. If I had used a different artist, we would have gotten a different result. Okay, because the artists do influence the output, especially with the Imagenet model and the Wiki Art models. Okay, so speaking of Wiki Art, I took the same image, the original, and used the exact same keyword phrase or prompt, except instead of choosing the Imagenet model, I used the Wiki Art model, which it tends to be more artistic in appearance, more like an oil painting style, mostly because it's trained on public domain paintings. So not very good results, honestly. I didn't like these at all. And so I decided to, again, go with the black and white version. And it kind of looks like a dog, but overall, I mean, it's better than the color version. More muted tones. And so it's definitely picking up on the contrast for sure. Probably what I would want to do is take a black and white version of this image and increase the contrast. So darken the background, lighten him up a little bit, and we would probably get an even more accurate result. But overall, you can see that it steered it pretty well. Okay. And so then the next thing that I decided to do, going back to the original illustration, was I wanted to do a fast render versus a normal render. So the normal render has more time to cook and develop details and all of that kind of stuff. And so you can see this is the first one that we saw versus, so 60 iterations versus 200 iterations. There's definite differences between the two, obviously, once it was allowed to run longer. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, the only reason why I did the fast renders for all the other ones was so that it wouldn't freaking take all day, even though it did still take several hours to produce all the different results. Now, the Imagenet and Wiki Art models are not the only ones that are available to us on Accomplice. They actually have others, and one of them is called Glide. And Glide is a model that was created to provide photorealistic results instead of more artsy ones like what we see here. And so I decided to use the Glide model, which artist names have no influence over the output in Glide models. So I decided to put in a barn owl sitting on a branch. Okay. And I used the Glide model, and I want you to see what happened. Now, these have all been upscaled. All the images in this entire presentation have been upscaled. But not bad, like not hyper detailed, but it got it right. You know, it got it all right. This isn't bad at all. Now, let's take the whole image idea one step further. I started off using a photo that I found on Pixabay. But what if we created our source image just using Glide and then use that with artist names using an ImageNet model? So I took one of the Glide image outputs, which it produces, whenever you use Glide, it produces 6 at a time. And they're all different. And in most cases, the majority of them are decent. Once in a great while, you'll get one that's kind of random. But so this was the Glide image, one of the Glide images that model produced. And then I just went through a couple different artists. So you can see that using this as a guide image, you know, they all kind of look like owls, but the influences of the artist name kind of changes up what you're going to get. Now, if you downloaded the PDF that I just mailed on and sent out and posted in the Facebook group, One of the links that's in the back of that, I think is where I put it, is to artist studies. So it's very similar in a lot of respects to the one that I produced a while back, with regard to landscapes, 450 artists, and the results that you get using their name in the same phrase. This one here is different. And what I like about it is that they have visuals of the artists, and you can mouse over and see who the artist is. And then if you click on the artist, it shows you outputs using different models. Now, in this case, they're using different ones even from what we see in Accomplice. So the VIT B32 clip, BIT B16 clip, RN 40x4 clip, and RN 50x16 clip. So the phrase, he input just Eleanor Vare Boyle or whatever artist he chose, and then use these different variants. Now, these are all variants of Imagenet, okay, that are separated out. And so you can see that there are definitely similarities, but depending on this model, there's different clip models. It will vary the results that you get. And so one of the things that I like about this is that it's a visual database, so that if you see a visual style that you really like, you know, like maybe you like this one here, you can see Johan Grenier, which is one of the artists that I did. Now, in some cases, the results are quite different, okay, versus, you know, in some cases, I don't know who this is, George Innes, they're all very similar. And so the way you would use them, you know, is just copy the artist's name, right? And then come over to Accomplice, and you can see all the owls, you know, lots and lots. And so I'll just use his name and then show you the process that I went through, right? So here in Accomplice, which I know some of you, the 2.0 version kind of threw you for a loop a little bit because the process flow has changed slightly. It's still pretty much the same, okay? You just hit create like you normally would, but in this case, you choose a model first. And what's cool about 2.0 is that you have a number of models to pick from. Some of these you don't have access to, and some of them you do. But Imagenet is the original and the one that you know, most of us have used quite a lot. And then Wiki Art, he also added a style transfer model. Here is Glide Rue Dali, which is a Russian version of DALL-E, which is OpenAI's latest GAN model that isn't available to the public yet. And then the rest of these are custom models, some of which Adam created and one that I created so far. But anyway, so pick a model, any model, right? Let's pick Imagenet since it's the original that Accomplice launched with. And you can see how I have the text prompt here. You can type in whatever you want. I'm going to swap out James Gurney's name and paste in George, his name. The next section here is where you add the image prompt. And so if you click on that, you'll see that I have them all loaded already because I did the renders. But to load a new one, you can just simply drag or click here, upload it into the account, and then you're good to go. Then you just click on the one that you uploaded. But just for the sake of demo here, I'm going to click on the grayscale owl right here. And then we'll go with square. It doesn't really matter based on the source image. You can do whatever you want, but we're going to go with square. And then quality, yeah, fast and normal, just like always. I'm going to choose fast, and I'm not going to put it in any collection right now. And then just hit create. Now, what it's doing is it's loading the model, and then getting ready to bounce the prompt phrase up against it. And so you can see that it adds noise to the initial layer. So you have the source image, it adds noise to that to that source, and then it starts to develop the result. But you can see that the source image that we use, that grayscale owl, is definitely impacting our result. And if we come back over here while that's running, see the saturated colors that definitely lean heavily toward yellows and oranges. We see that showing up here, right? And so there's the end result. And so then we can upscale if we want to get a higher resolution. But before we do that, I'm going to come over here again, pick this same model, and use the same phrase and everything, except I'm not going to use the image prompt this time. Now, I haven't run this artist name before for anything, so I have no idea what's going to turn out. Hey, Bunny, here's one of your images. I don't know if you're on here tonight, but so you can see now we have colored noise without any image in it because we didn't load an image. Hey, Mark. We are making owls to bring you up to speed, or maybe otters in this case. So you can see that without the guidance of the image, the AI isn't quite sure what to do, right? So if we come back here, you can see with the guide image, not bad. Without the guide image, it's not even usable. Okay. And so then, you know, if we come back over here to our artist studies and let's pick something different. Like really different. Interestingly enough, a lot of the artists that he has in here, I didn't have on my list, and I thought my list was pretty damn comprehensive. I like that. That's super cool looking. So let's, I don't know why that was already selected, but so let's use Clint here and create a new one. And we'll use Imagenet again. And I'm going to paste Clint's name in there. And then for the image prompt, we'll use the grayscale owl. Choose square, fast, create. So there you can see we have our grayscale image with the noise overlaying. Very interesting. Now, one thing that I want to point out here, and I kind of alluded to this before, is how tone matters. And you can see how with the background, it's giving it this almost stained glass window kind of look, but also right here. And it's like, why is that making it look the same and not a part of the owl? Well, the reason why is because this tonal range in through this part of his body is exactly the same as the background. So in the eyes of the clip model, it sees in blocks, grayscale blocks. And so it's the same to the AI. It doesn't know any better. So you want to pay attention to that as far as influencing the end result. So like, let's just to kind of take it a step further, let's go to Pixabay and let's do something that isn't animals. See, there's the image that I used. I just made it square. Now, obviously, this will work with regular clip art as well. Okay. Zebras, I bet that would throw it into a tizzy. Let's try mountain. I'll do it this way. Okay. So some of these are very nice because they have a lot of contrast to them. And that's one of the things that you want to pay attention to is the contrast. So let's take maybe this image. I don't think I'm logged in. Oh, for fuck's sake. Seriously now? All right. We'll just download that resolution there. And then we are going to choose Imagenet. And it's what? Trina Lake. Well, that's what we'll call it. Tree in a lake. I guess we can call it whatever we want. So I'm going to choose select and then download. Upload this image and then just click on it to select it. So it is tree in a lake, right? We'll stay with landscape, change this to fast. And I'm just going to use tree in a lake as is, no artist names or anything like that, just so that we can use it as a starting point. So we'll click create. And as Debbie just pointed out, while we're waiting for this to render, smash the like button for this video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I recommend that you do that. That way you can choose notifies, click the little bell there, and it will let you know all the details of when I'm launching my next videos. All right, so you can see how the image is definitely influencing the output. Okay, so not horrid. And if we look at, keep doing that. This is the original. Why do I keep doing that? Versus what we ended up with. Okay. Now, if we choose create, go with Imagenet still, and put a tree in a lake, no image prompt, fast. So we don't have any image that's influencing our result here. It's just starting off with basic static. And you can see how already it's like, okay, this is what you said. That's what I'm going to give you. Not sure why you put a tree in a lake, but now this is without any influence. Okay, so you can see the different results. Obviously, we're influencing here. But we didn't have any artists. So let's sculpt this image a little bit further, right? Let's hit create. We're going to stick with Imagenet for now. Tree in a lake. We're going to add our influencer image, but let's, that's pretty, don't know who this is, never used their keyword phrase or their name before. Tree in a lake by this dude. Okay. And fast. So let's see what happens. Margaret says the trees could be put into patterns. Yeah, absolutely. And you can actually turn any image into patterns. My favorite software for that kind of thing is, and by patterns, I mean repeating patterns. My favorite software is called Repper, and it's brilliant at what it does. So you can definitely see the influence of the image. And notice the color and tonal ranges. They're identical. So how cool is that? So let's sing it again, Sam. Tree in a lake. Put in our prompt image here. And let's find somebody else. Thanks, Martin. It was a fun time. Let's go clear back up to the top. So many artists. So this is really different here. Wow, like really different. I don't know if I like that one. Very oriental. I like that. All right, so copy this artist's name. Choose fast. Create. Yes, Repper. Marjorie. Or Repper Pro. So there's our source image with the noise. Right on. So you can see that we're definitely getting different results here that are influenced by two things. One is the prompt name with the artist that we chose. The other is the guide image. Now, I want you to think about this. What have we discovered so far? First, we discovered that guide images obviously influence in a very positive way, but um, tonal range of the image matters. What I found in a lot of my experimenting is that black and white guide images work better than color ones because you're relying on the AI to interpret the color, and it just doesn't work that way. So as a result, black and white, especially contrasty black and white images, will give you a better end result in most cases. Lonnie says, for a Black History Month article, I was showing one of my friends a painting by African-American artist, is it Romer Bairden? If I butchered the name, I apologize. And wondered if Accomplice had that artist in the list. Could. I'm not sure. But let's... trying to see if I can highlight it. It's not going to let me highlight it a bit. So let's let's see, ROMARE. Did I spell it right? Beardeen. So I'm going to copy that just so I have it. Okay, so very interesting style. All right, so what we're going to do is use our current case study here. Technically, you don't need to upper and lowercase things, I found, but I like to. It just seems, normally I do. We'll just leave it as is. So we'll see what happens. Okay. That way we have a cool frame of reference. I'm thinking maybe yes is the answer to your question. So there are definitely some resemblances to the style. Like if you look at the style here, this image compared to our output, definitely related. Okay. And if we did a normal prompt, which would take a bit longer, you would have more clarity and detail. And if we run the same prompt, except with Wiki Art, in a lake, just to kind of show you the difference here. So Wiki Art is a different database, so it's going to interpret it differently. more painterly, if anything. Oh yeah, I think I'm going to like this one even better. Yeah, definitely. Very similar style. And one thing that I found is that even contemporary artists, very often it'll actually recognize the style. Like I have a friend. Let's see if I can find his art. No, I spelled it wrong. Yeah, he goes by different names. I'll go with his regular name. Um, okay. So his style is definitely more fluid African dance kind of style. And I don't know if the AI would recognize him at all. Um, we can find out. We'll try Wiki Art first. Actually, I'm really curious. It'd be kind of cool if it did recognize it. So definitely a softer style, which could be the model that I'm using. And it could depend on which images are actually in the model. That has an influence as well. I discovered that with Megan Duncanson, which is one of my favorites. But she's changed styles over the years, and so as a result, um, like her primary influence in the ImageNet database isn't necessarily resemblant of what her current styles are. So let's try this model. So fun thing about Bucci is that he actually used to live with me for a while. Gosh, probably 20 years ago or so. I learned a lot of art stuff, art information and style and all of that from him. These are some of his early images. But some of his work is owned by like Michael Jordan and different people like that. Yeah, it's not recognizing the name. That's why it looks the way it does. Oh well, it's worth a try. You never know until you know. All right, so let's Let's switch back over here to our slides. All right. So we talked about guide images, and obviously you want to use them more than not. And there's a lot of sources. Of course, you can create your own images, photographer, artist, whatever. It doesn't have to be a photograph. It can be an illustration or painting or line art or whatever. It could even be a previously AI output piece. I've done that as well. You can use the glide model or Rudali to create something. I found that between the two, even though both of them produce photorealistic type images, glide is better. And of course, so Rudali as well. You can use public domain images, of course, which I do a lot. The best public domain image sites, there are thousands, as most of you know. I have, products that have most of all of those links in it. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to three. If you're looking for more contemporary images, if you want historical, that's another conversation. But Pixabay, Unsplash, and Pexels will really hook you up. You can find just about anything that you need there. And of course, we've looked already at the different models that are available. So if we come back over here, I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, if you come here, this is where you upload, which we went through that already. But if you click Browse Images, Adam's the creator of the software, if you don't know, has actually added a lot of images, and you'll notice the tonal ranges, right? So there's some basic ones here that you can use. Or, like I mentioned, you can, upload your own, which I've experimented with a lot of different things. And here, no, it's just a group. I think at one point, unless I'm confused with another program, I've been through all of them. Every AI program that's out there, I've used them. And so sometimes I get them mixed up. But in some cases, some of the other AI options actually have built-in options where you can access like pixels directly. Okay. And if you're not quite sure what to add in with your text prompt, you can click on the modifiers. He has a lot of different options here, like artist styles, artists themselves, different kinds of mediums like brushstrokes, acrylic, pastels, and so on, and even subjects that you can use as influencer words. You don't have to use these, but you can. And that's about it. Does anybody have any comments or questions? I'll give you all a moment, and then we will move on. Alex says, hooray, great lesson. I have never really understood how to use the guide image to influence my output. I know what I'll be doing tonight. And Liz says, thanks again for another awesome look into the world of AI technology. And Anita says, wonderful. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, and by the way, Alex, what I shared tonight is step one of how to use influence images or guide images. You can take it to a whole new level. And that's part of what I'll be teaching in the new course is what I'm doing with them now. Because they are, there's a lot more you can do, we'll just say. So speaking of, brand new course, AI Art Creation Advanced Strategies, 3 modules, technically 4, because I already have a bonus training up that's up there. It's a little over an hour long. Module 1, we are going to be talking about AI assembly strategies. A lot of you have seen the eagle and bear illustrations that I created, and the response has really been incredibly favorable. And so in module 1, I'm going to show you exactly how I make those. And that's going to be, there is some strategy to it to get them to turn out. And Mark, you can't stop. That's part of the funniness of it. To answer your question, Margaret, I don't know. I typically don't go free. You get what you pay for. But I mean, you can certainly Google it. The exact phrase that you just put in your question, online free pattern generator. I've taught on it before. It's been a couple years, but I just use ReproPro because it's the best of the best. And it's not super expensive. Yeah, so module 1, I'm going to show you how I build that. Hold on just a second. I'm in my office at the other side of the house, and Kristen's in the basement. I just heard our doorbell. So I just wanted to send her a quick text. She may be expecting it. I don't know. All right. So module 2 is building your own AI models. And so to answer your question, Bunny, yes. Matter of fact, this is one that I built using some of the images from Jasmine Beckett Griffith that she just released into the public domain. It's a model still in process, but you can see some of the input images that I added. And the cool thing is, somewhere over the rainbow, it's giving me some very interesting outputs. Was there somebody there? Oh, food. Kristen's been not feeling well, and we had a Valentine's date for our local favorite restaurant called Falafel Shack, and they just delivered food for us, which is super sweet. So you can see these images were output using that model. They need some massaging, of course. She kind of looks like Satan, but you know, this one here turned out really nice. But anyway, so we're going to be covering that in module 2, and then module 3, everything is going to go sideways, kind of like the slide. We're going to talk about collabs, and I don't know if you're familiar with them, but this is AI next level. I mean, it just really takes it to the next level. So if you haven't registered yet, this is the URL. I don't think I can copy it from here. I'm going to copy it from here. Oh no. Is that cauliflower?
I think so.
Yeah, it looks like it. Uh-oh. Guess what we're doing in a little bit.
Well, I'm not. I just have the rest of my shoulder.
Okay. So there is the link. My word, people, come on. There. These are some of the images that I created. Here's the bear. This is an edited version of the gal. To answer your question, Simon, image number 3 says yes. This was generated using PyD. And this one is pretty cool as well. No, Margaret, I'm not going to give any examples of collabs because it's something that if you've never run them before, you need to understand how to make them work, which is why I'm teaching it step by step. Because if I just showed you an example, you would look at it and like, I don't know, I have no idea. They were pretty damn intimidating to me at first until I figured them out. But now there's dozens and dozens of them. Yeah, I do my best to send people down rabbit holes. I am like the king of rabbit holes, especially these days. And I'll tell you what, I probably shouldn't even tell you this at all, but I'm going to. I discovered a new program today, and it is freaking unbelievable what you can do with it. For still images and video outputs, it's math-based. Definitely an AI element to it, but it will not be in this course. It's probably going to take me 3 months maybe to master it, maybe. But I could be wrong. I haven't started it yet, and I'm not giving up the name of it. It's been around for a while. It's definitely a high-end program. I may not even teach on it, honestly, because it's not cheap. It's expensive. It's over $300 just for the program. But what it can do is jaw-dropping. I swore out loud. First time I saw, like, imagine 3D video fly-throughs of Mandelbrot generated fractals and stuff like that. Well, I'm going to start working on learning it, Lonnie, starting tomorrow. It may come together quickly. It's just the mode of creation is a lot different than anything that we've experimented with. It's stunning. I mean, just the potential is stunning. Well, I haven't made up my mind yet, Lori, if I'm going to teach on it or not. I want to get into it because you know me, I break things down very methodically. And so if I can figure it out, then I can show you how to figure it out. And if you guess, go for it. I'm not going to give you any hints. Just because I like teasing y'all. And honestly, at the present moment, I don't remember the name. So there's that. Oh yeah, I do remember the name. But anyway, I'll give you a hint. The word art is in the name. Oh heavens. Actually, I don't want to tell you right now because I don't want y'all to be distracted. master one thing at a time. This course, it says advanced strategies for a reason. Okay. So I'm going to break everything down so that you understand it, but you're going to have a lot of rabbit holes in the new course, and I don't want to give you even more. Okay. So I'll let y'all know. Yeah, exactly, Debbie Squirrel. Because that's what happened to me. Honestly, I just found it. And so immediately my brain is like, I want to spend all day working with this. And I didn't have all day to spend working on it because I was working on tonight's presentation. So I've downloaded it, but I haven't even launched it yet. And that, honestly, I probably won't even get to it until the weekend, just because of wrapping up the NFT launch blueprint course on Thursday. Yeah, no kidding, Liz. She's like, at our ages, we need to continue to actively engage our brains. Yeah, I agree 100%. As most of you know, I turned 60 in April, and I decided that I'm just referring to it as 6.0, Tony 6.0. And I kind of like that better. And interestingly enough, what I found is every year ending in 2, like here we are, 2022, has been a huge transition year for me. And then the following year, ending in a 3, is next level. And so I traced it back my entire life, and it played out perfectly. It was just amazing, how the leap always happened. Like the 2-year was a transition year, the 3-year was next level every single time. So I'm kind of excited. I have an idea of what's coming. Obviously next year will be Kristen and I full time. Somebody asked about the boxing. We still are. We're getting there. We have a friend coming up from Florida on Friday who's picking up. He bought my Glowforge and some of my other tools, and so he's coming up to get those, and some other things. So we'll be getting rid of a lot of tools this weekend, which is exciting. Well, Lonnie, interesting thing you mentioned too. So this is, I spend every morning out in the mountains, almost every morning, getting downloads and stuff. And one of the things that was pointed out to me at the very beginning of the year was that this was a 6 year for me. And it seems obvious because I turned 60, so 6. My birthday is on the 6th, April 6th. This year is Kristen's and my 6th anniversary. And for those of you who are in the numerology and stuff, and so if you take 2022 and add up the numbers, 2022 is a 6 year, and so there's a lot more to it. We could really go down that rabbit hole, but it's just very interesting to see how everything is playing out. And I'll tell you, I may have to start up the Nerd Unscripted podcast again soon. Some of the things that I've been getting lately are off the charts. Like today's download was revolutionary. And I know, Mark, you've been getting some, if you're still here. We might have to talk soon, because today I was just like basically shown how the interconnectedness of things work. and it was really crazy. Yeah, agreed, Mark. Bittersweet to see the tools go, but you know the thing is with the tools going, if I need them again in the future, I'll buy them again. But I'm just really looking forward to the downsizing thing. I mean, I love the stuff that we've had. We've been very blessed, and I mean, just Kristen and I by ourselves living in 5,000 square feet is insane, honestly. And so, we did on Saturday. We spent the day driving dualies, which I've never. We're going to have one for the RV, but I've never driven one. And so we drove one of the Ford Platinum dualies. Oh my God. Um, it's an amazing truck. That's all I can say. It's not 666 like Satan, Liz. Jeez. But and then we found out that the local RV place, they're a wholesaler, and they had three of the fifth wheel that we want. So we got to go spend time in it. Um, really awesome guy, sales guy. The guy who with the truck couldn't. That guy was an idiot, but the truck was awesome. The sales guy was an idiot. Um, because we had talked to him about maybe trading my Mustang in. Yeah, guy's lucky I didn't punch him, but the truck was freaking awesome. Um, but the RV, my word, it's everything that we hoped it would be. It was just amazing. It's one thing to watch videos and look at pamphlets. It's another thing to go in and sit in it and walk around it, you know. And so it was a really good experience. It just kind of confirmed that we're um, on the right path in going with that one. Yep, the Mustang is for sale. Has been actually. Anybody want a Mustang? 9,200 miles. That's it. 15 years old. Supercharged. It doesn't save on gas money at all. Gets about 6 miles to the gallon because of said supercharger and stuff. But yeah, it's available for sale. Actually, all of our cars are going. The Mercedes, the Jeep, all of them. And then we're just going to go down to the one truck when we get that. But our timeline isn't quite yet. We still have stuff to do. Roxanne says, we get to hear all of Kristen's giggles when you're streaming from an RV. Maybe, although I have not been a fan of mid bunks. And this particular brand that we like, it's River Ranch from Columbus. And they have the reason why we like it is because of it's got a massive amount of storage underneath. But they have a mid bunk model, and I was not a fan at all until we stepped in one over the weekend. And you know, I think I kind of like it because it's like a separate room, like it'd be like my own office, completely closed off from the rest of the RV. So you would maybe hear Kristen or maybe not. Yeah, Val. And actually, the RV place, like I mentioned, they're wholesalers. They are so packed that they have almost no room to take more RVs in. Because like the RV manufacturers have been playing catch up, and now they've got overload. Actually, Thomas, I have RV before. I used to have a 32-foot Class C. and I had a 25-foot travel trailer that I pulled with a 18-passenger van. So, yeah, I mean, it's still going to be different. One of the things that we really love about this dealership that we're buying the RV from is that they have RV school. So before they sell you your RV, they make you come and take a week-long class where they walk you through the entire process of how to use it and everything, which is awesome. We're taking the cats with us, Gary. How long do you plan to travel? Until we're over it. A couple years at least. There's a lot that we want to see and do. We're just really looking forward to getting out of Dodge. I'm looking forward to the day when Pennsylvania's in my rearview mirror. Although I won't be able to see it because the RV will be behind us. But I mean, my kids are still here. I'm trying to talk them both into moving to Tennessee. Because I think maybe eventually, if Kristen and I do settle down and buy a place, it may be in Tennessee, like Eastern Tennessee, like around the Knoxville area or something like that. But who knows? We may find another place that we like more, you know. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining me here tonight and for the feedback and the chit chat and everything. Um, the new course, I had an error on the days on the sales page, but I corrected that. So it starts this coming Monday and it'll be the next 3 Mondays, starting next Monday. And of course, the NFT Launch Blueprint course wraps up Thursday of this week. And I think I'm actually, even though we're wrapping it this Thursday, I'm seriously thinking about adding another bonus module to it that I won't be teaching live. Thank you, Debbie. Um, yes, make sure that if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, that helps me. And um, one of the things that I'm planning to do, and also liking the videos, of course, one of the things that I'm planning to do here in the next couple of weeks is go back through my previous videos and add in descriptions and tags and all of that kind of stuff, links and everything. Because since I've been posting these webinars onto YouTube, I just want to really build on the momentum that I'm getting there. Exactly, Roxanne. You can't pickle me. Can I be bribed with chocolates? Probably not, Liz, because, 8 months vegan. Not that I'm not eating chocolate, but it's pretty picky, pretty limited. What I will do, I'll give you one more hint, just for those of you who are good researchers. The person who designed this software originally created the first 3D landscape design software that used, let's see, how do I want to put it? It used fractal-based procedural maps to generate the landscapes. That software is no longer available, but this new software that's out, and it's not super new, is based on that technology. And he's the one that created the original and the new one. He's the founding member or the designer of the new software. I'm not going to give you his name because honestly, I don't remember it at the current moment. And I'm not going to give you the original program name. That would make it too easy for you. But let's just say that whenever I first used the original software that he developed, it was in the late 90s. So it's been a while. So that should be a fun clue. All right. Well, that's all that I have for tonight, folks. Thank you once again for joining me here. And like, subscribe, notify. As always, thank you very much. For those of you who are in the NFT Launch Blueprint course, I will see you on Thursday. Those of you who are jumping in on the AI Art Creation Advanced Strategies course, I will see you on Monday. And enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.